Coral Island shared a first look at the features coming with the game's next update, 2 new dateable characters were officially confirmed, and a beta for version 1.3 is coming soon. All this and more today. Hello friends, Sarah Sunstone here, bringing you the latest gaming news with Sunnyside Up. Today is April 28th, 2026. Stairway Games, the developers behind Coral Island, shared an official blog showcasing the next big content update, version 1.3, titled The Ocean and Kisses Update. There are so many amazing new features coming with this next version of the game, so let's go over the latest developer blog together. And get comfy, because this is a big one. Please go ahead and shine that lovely like button if you're excited to dive into the new content, and make sure to subscribe to my channel with your notifications on to stay in the loop. But otherwise, without any further ado, let's get right into it. So first up, the team is sharing that they will be hosting a public beta for the 1.3 Ocean and Kisses update, which will be open to all Steam players and will be running from May 4th until May 15th. So once they announce that the testing is open on May 4th, you're going to follow these instructions right here, and you'll be able to access that beta version of the game. Next, they're actually sharing a little bit of an update on the release date for 1.3, which is actually that they don't have a date just yet. The reasoning for this is that this beta wasn't actually even a part of the plan to begin with. Originally, they were going to drop this blog next month in May, which is what we were all expecting, with even more content built out. But they realized that they already had plenty to share, so they've moved everything up. Once the beta is running, they're going to have a much better view of where the game is at and what's still buggy, and that's when they'll be able to give us a release date. So this makes perfect sense. We want to give them time to bug fix, polish, get feedback, all of that from the beta, and then set that release date for 1.3 once they have more information. So we'll just have to stay tuned. But we do get to take our first look at the new content today, starting with the 2 new dateable characters. So it is absolutely official that Agung and Reina are joining the lineup of dateable NPCs. So this is incredibly exciting. There was so much speculation on who these new dateable characters were going to be, and they gave us some clues. Now it's confirmed Reina and Agung will be added to the roster. The team did want to give us a heads up that unlike other dateables, these 2 actually only become dateable in the mid to late game. So specifically, Agung will be available mid-game and Reina will be available late game. So even though these characters are both already in the game, we are getting some official introductions to them, starting with Agung. Does he need an intro? Probably not. Agung is a gatekeeper for the Merfolk Kingdom, patrolling the waters with his partner in duty, Denali. He's grown up on stories of what humans do to the ocean, so when you show up, he's watching. He's loyal to the kingdom down to his scales, and his first instinct towards newcomers is always suspicion. Even after he warms up to you, don't be surprised if a simple favor gets met with a raised eyebrow and an interrogation. But give him time, and the wit softens into something warmer. Not all land dwellers are bad, as it turns out. Some of them are even worth talking to. Then we have Reina, who will officially be dateable. Reina came to Coral Island on Pufferfish Corp's payroll. She's not here for the cause. She's here because it pays. And honest money is a nice change of pace. She keeps her heart guarded, but charm her enough and you'll learn what's behind it. And red velvet cake is apparently a good start. And look here, we actually get to take a look at another one of Reina's beautiful outfits. It just looks so lovely, and I'm really excited to see these 2 characters' additional portraits that, may be added with this update. Next, the team is sharing a note specifically on Agung's character. So let's read it together. While testing Agung as a dateable, something came up that we want to address directly. We've seen readings of Agung as asexual, and we want to be honest with you. That wasn't our intention when we wrote him, and we don't feel right claiming representation we didn't actually write. Agung was written as a flirty guy who just isn't interested in dating anyone. Not the player, not the other merfolk. That's still who he is. To preserve that, we've kept his flirty but not looking dialogue locked under 8 hearts. So the romance route only opens at 9 hearts and above. So what does that mean? Well, he's still the same Agung. Charming, teasing, not actively looking. But if you put in the time and if you impress him, maybe you're different. maybe you're the exception. They also shared that they love this character and they want him to feel like himself, while also giving players who've been hoping for this route a real way in. And I really like that idea, having that one romanceable option where you're truly the exception. They also shared this picture with tons of folks in the community asking for Agung to be dateable, which I thought was so funny. And honestly, I've seen all of this too in comments of my videos for the last 5 years. So it's super relevant. I've also been very much wanting to see Agung become dateable. And to me, it has always felt like Agung was destined to be a romanceable candidate, so it's pretty crazy to see this actually come to fruition. And on that note, they're actually sharing a little bit of information about why now. So apparently, Agung was always planned to be a dateable alongside the other dateable merfolk, but at the time, the team didn't have the resources and time to make it happen. So it came down to Denali or Agung, the first two merfolk designs. And they chose Denali. There wasn't a deep reason, they just had to pick one. Now, over the years, they've watched how many folks in the community have come to love Agung, and they couldn't say anything earlier because they didn't know how the game was going to do, and they wanted to be sure they had the resources to make this happen before making any promises. So once they delivered on their Kickstarter romanceable stretch goals, which, in case you didn't know, one of the stretch goals that was unlocked was extra dateable candidates that didn't include any of the merfolk. The merfolk kingdom itself was actually one of the stretch goals, so that was even additional content compared with what was originally planned for the game. But yeah, so once they delivered those stretch goals, they knew that they could finally give Agung his shot, and alongside him, there's also now Reina, another character many have come to love. And they did the same thing here where they did a collage of lots of folks who really wanted to see Reina as a dateable candidate too. I know many of you were on, Team Reina, Justice for Reina, Free Reina, Save Reina, Make Reina dateable. Reina's dateable. Well, she will be in 1.3. So the wait is over. The team wanted to thank everyone for sticking around, and they hope that Agung and Reina will steal your heart in the way that they've stolen theirs. So I really like that they shared some more insight too into the whole Agung situation. It did always feel like Agung and Denali were just both meant to be dateable, but I think it's, easy to forget on the side of players like us, where we're going, oh, I wish this character was dateable, or I wish that character was dateable. It's really easy for us to make wishes and make requests, but it's a lot more difficult on the side of the team to actually make it happen. We have to remember it literally costs money and time and resources. It actually requires a lot to make a new character dateable or to add a new character to the game. It's not just, flip the switch and make them dateable. It's not how it works. So it's really awesome to see that the game has succeeded in a way where that is possible. They have the resources to do that and they were able to make it happen. Now, a quick note for Steam beta testers is that Agung and Reina actually won't be available as romance options during the public beta test. And honestly, I think this is the right choice to make. I feel like this is such a big deal. This is such a long time coming. This is so exciting, and it's a huge new addition, a huge new feature for the game. I think it's great if all of us can just look forward to this together, and even if you are participating in the beta test, you can save that romance for the official update. So yay, we finally have the two new romanceable characters confirmed, but honestly, that just scratches the surface of what version 1.3 is going to have in store for us. So let's take a peek at some of the new features that will be included in this update, starting with NPC Hangout invites. So it's no longer just you doing all the asking. The singles of Coral Island can actually now invite you on Hangouts too, because one-sided relationships can get pretty dull. So here we can see Alice approaching the player, asking, "Got a minute? We could hang out." And you can either accept that and say, "I'd love to," or you can decline it and say, "Maybe later." Honestly, I don't think I'd have it in me to decline. I think that is so sweet. Next up in the update, there's going to be a new event, which is the wedding anniversary. So from the team, pro tip number 1, in-game and IRL, anniversaries matter, people. Your spouse will deliver a special anniversary dialogue, and you'll even get a 2x mastery XP buff for the day, assuming you remember to say hi. And also as a bonus, gift points are doubled, so forget at your own risk. So here's a little peek at Raphael wishing a happy anniversary to his spouse in this save. And they also gave us a little preview of that wedding anniversary buff that you're gonna get. So you'll get 2 times your Mastery XP and 2 times heart points on your wedding anniversary. But the developers did want to note this is actually a placeholder UI, so it'll be prettier for the full release. Next up, the long-awaited and perhaps very feared addition of the jealousy and attention system. So pro tip number 2 from the team. Relationships take work. Marriage isn't a one-and-done deal. Your spouse has feelings, and if you start slacking, skipping kisses, forgetting birthdays, never giving gifts, you'll see it. So they've added a jealousy system and attention-seeking behaviors that trigger both before and after marriage. So if you think they don't notice, your spouses do now. Give too much attention to other dateables, and little birds might tell them. So here is a little preview of what this might look like as an example. So we have Aaliyah, and get ready, you guys. This is what Aaliyah is saying to the player. I was starting to think you had a second job, but nope, just working overtime to impress my brother, huh? Oh, this is about to get messy, you guys, and I am so sad for it. The good news is that if you're not into the drama, the team totally gets it, so you can toggle it off and there's no jealousy for you. But the toggle will only disable jealousy, so I believe the attention-seeking behaviors will still be implemented. And you can see what this will look like right here. So you can enable or disable jealousy. So then we get a little preview of attention-seeking behavior. So if you neglect your spouse, they might start sulking. And here they've used Leah as an example for what this could look like. Leah is looking very unimpressed and says, "We haven't kissed in a long time. Do you even care about me anymore?" So I think this is great to incentivize you to continue caring for your spouse, keeping that spark alive, still engaging in those actions like giving them gifts, spending quality time with them, showing them affection, all of that. So I like that extra touch and that extra level of immersion and how dynamic it seems to make those relationships. Now, next up, we get a peek at the long-awaited Merfolk Festival. Now, the Merfolk Festival is going to be running from summer 19 until summer 21. So it is a multi-day festival. So to attend, you'll need to access the kingdom, of course, and have the Seal of Naga. And apparently it is packed with stalls you won't see anywhere else, and it's worth the swim down. So of course Kibble's here. This is a little preview of the Festival of the Sun is what it's called, and I am so excited to attend. Now we also get a little preview at some of the exclusive stalls we'll find at the Merfolk Festival, and this includes Princess Miranjani's collection, a festival exclusive sculpture NPC, Cho-Oyu's potion stall, and more. So the first one is Princess Miranjani's collection. It looks like it's actually run by Nagalita, which is very cute. And here it looks like we just have an assortment of random stuff, which is very in keeping with the princess loving just random human things. It looks like the items are all being offered at a discount. I feel like this might be a bit more useful if you're an earlier game and still looking for certain crystals and artifacts and fossils and such. Next, we get a preview at the sculpture shop, which is kind of crazy and kind of awesome. It looks like you can actually get a sculpture of maybe any of the NPCs, including some Derek, Karen, the judge. And it also looks like you can choose what you want the sculpture made out of. So you can pick clay, bronze, silver, gold, or even osmium. But they definitely come at a price. And based off of this one too, it looks like you can even get a sculpture of the goddess and even of some of the animals. So I 100%, if that is true, I'm pretty sure that's Bonbon. I 100% need to get sculptures made of all of the Coral Island pets. And then they also gave us a little preview of Cho-Oyu's potion stall, which looks like it's going to have some interesting effects. So we don't know how this is going to work yet, but it looks like you might get some kind of a random effect from those potions. In this case, the player is going completely bald. So next up, we have an update on the save system for the game. And there's actually a few different levels to these new save system features. So first up, they're going to be introducing something called character slots. So you can now have up to 10 character slots total. And oh my gosh, that's actually me. Guys, I made it. So yeah, that's me, Lovestone Farms. You can have different characters and you can have up to 10 as indicated here. We also very excitingly have the introduction of manual saves. So you can now save manually whenever you want. Pro tip number 3 from the devs is manually save into different slots to effectively copy your progress, which is perfect for anyone who wants to date around and marry different NPCs. And they're actually showing this in practice here. So this player has different routes for different characters. So we have the Pablo route, the Alice route, the Nina route, and then the Leah route. Now, in addition to those manual saves, the game will also now autosave. And it will autosave whenever you enter a building, whenever you go into the mines or dive sites, or when you teleport. And you'll see this icon indicated in the corner when it is saving. Next up, in version 1.3, there's going to be some improvements made for multiplayer, starting with underwater marriage between players. So if you don't see anyone you like among the singles, you can marry your real-life partner, now underwater as well as on land. So I think that is so lovely that you can have a merfolk marriage with another player now. They're also adding player-to-player interactions, so you can ask the other player for a hug, and of course you wait for your response because consent is cool. And yeah, you can now hug other players if you would like, and I think that is so precious and so cute. There's also some other improvements that have been made to multiplayer. First of all, the status bar in multiplayer will now show when players are sleeping. So you'll have this little icon show up on the left-hand side here when someone has gone to bed. Now, very interestingly, napping has also come to Coral Island in multiplayer. So if you go to sleep in multiplayer, it'll actually recharge your stamina. The only catch is that one person has to be awake. So if you're playing with 4 players, even if just one person is staying awake, the other 3 can go lie down for a nap and replenish their stamina. Of course, if everyone goes to sleep all at once, you're gonna wake up the next morning. But I think that's really awesome. And now we have some brand new additions and quality of life features, so some assorted stuff, starting with something super exciting, at least in my opinion. Now, they've actually added some color variants for ranch animals, specifically for the cows, the chickens, and the horses. So apparently you'll unlock all the color variants once you reach rank A. The team shared that the pink cow, the rainbow cow, and the rainbow chicken are the popular choices around the studio. The rainbow cow especially because it reminds some of the developers of their childhood ice cream called Paddle Pop, so they hope we love them. I absolutely love this idea. I think it's really fun that they added some fun colors. I see a black and gold chicken. I see that rainbow chicken. I definitely need a rainbow sus chicken, let me tell you this. And we do get to take a first look at some of the different color variants for the horses too. I am super excited for this one because since this feature was initially included in the game, we've only had one option for the horse, one single color option. So now it looks like there's tons of different options. Some even have like unicorn horns. There's some more natural ones. There's some like zebra stripes. There's some fun colors. There's a lot going on. So I'm really excited to look through all the options and pick a new color for my horse. They also shared a preview of how this will look in the ranch. So when you go in to select the specific animal type, you'll then be able to actually choose from the different colors. So you don't have to randomly try to get one. You can actually pick exactly which one you want, which I think is awesome. So there's a pink chicken, the blue chicken, there's a purple chicken, there's a green chicken, a rainbow chicken, and a black and gold chicken. There's a pink cow, a blue cow, a purple cow, a green cow, a rainbow cow, and a gold cow. Now, the colorful animals aren't just cute, they're productive too, so if you take good care of them, they have a chance to produce starlet milk and starlet eggs, which are their new special products. Starlet milk and starlet eggs will sell for more than regular milk and eggs, so think twice before tossing them into a recipe. And we can see a little preview of what these goods will look like over here. It's very tiny, but you can get a little preview of the starlet milk and the starlet eggs. It looks like it's kind of rainbowy, which is really cool. The next new addition is interactive decor. So your home is about to feel a lot more personal. You will be able to display fish in aquariums, bugs in an insectarium, and flowers in a vase. All of these items will be available at the furniture store in Starlet Town, so you can use them to build a space that feels like yours. So this is a preview of the large fish tank with a few little fishies swimming around. Next, we have a preview of the large insectarium, which is filled with a bunch of different bugs. I love the design of this one. And then they're showing off how the vase will work. So you can place the flowers directly into them, lots of different types, flowers that you grow, flowers that you forage, and there's a bunch of examples right here. So a few things to note about these new systems. You can actually mix different species in the same tank, so butterflies and ladybugs can hang out together no problem. The fish and the insects will also automatically scale to fit the tank size. And the fish tanks and the insectarium both come in 3 different sizes: small, medium, and large. And the bigger the tank, the more you can fit inside. So the previews they gave us were of the larger ones, but there are those small and medium options. So here they have a chart to show you how big the items are in terms of tile size to actually place in your home. And then it also shows how many fish and how many insects you can have in each one. So for the small fish tank, you can just have 1 fish, the medium you can have 2, and the large you can have 3. And then for the insectariums, the small one you can have 2 insects in it, the medium one you can have 4, and the large one you can have 6. And we're not done yet. So next up, we have the Sawi hibernation mode. So apparently they heard that some folks are not thrilled about the little green friend, aka the cursed turnip, aka the weird onion, aka a nightmare with a dead fish stare. Who is being so mean to poor Sawi? Now you can send Sawi into hibernation. So your Sawi will snooze inside the cozy seed maker with others of its kind. So you can put Sawi into hibernation if you would like. And then when you want Sawi back, you just have to interact with the seed maker again. Honestly, justice for Sawi. Justice for Sawi. And the team put together a collage of Sawi slander. I am actually shocked and appalled. I had no idea y'all were so heartless and ruthless about this poor little mystical creature who is just trying to live their best life, wanting to restart your save, wanting to get rid of the mystical pet. Poor Sawi. So we will always be roaming around on my farm. So now next up, the team is going to be introducing some improvements to the festival pamphlets. They're all cleaned up, the writing's aligned, the numbers follow a counterclockwise order, they're easier to read, so they've just kind of revamped all of the pamphlets. You can also now access the pamphlet the entire day of the festival, so you could plan ahead, and it will also now include all the critical information like where the festival is held and when. So you don't even have to think about it, you don't have to check your map, it's just going to be on that pamphlet. I also could not help but notice they did a little preview of the Festival of the Sun pamphlet for the Merfolk Festival. And here we can see that Olin also has a stall, and there are 2 mini games, the Blast of Glory and the Jellyfish Master, plus the main event, which is called the Dance of the Fish. So I am even more excited for this festival now, and I cannot wait to experience it when the update drops. They showed a side-by-side comparison of those revamped pamphlets. This one's for the Spooky Day Festival, in case you're curious. Now, this one is great for planting seeds. You can actually just click and hold instead of clicking every single time. So less clicking, less strain. This update is all about joint health, apparently. So that's going to be so awesome. I really appreciate that specifically, especially when you're planting like a lot of seeds. Now, the same goes for when you're placing items into processors. So you can just click and hold to deposit into like the kiln, for example. With version 1.3, buyer's remorse will also now be solved because, sometimes you buy the wrong thing. Sometimes you grab more than you need. It happens. So now you can just hover over the return icon and you'll get your money back, no questions asked. And they show this in action here. So if you bought some potato seeds and you're like, whoops, I didn't mean to do that, you can just throw them in the bin and undo your purchase. But wait, there's more. So apparently, there's actually so much more for version 1.3 that they could not fit into this blog without it becoming a novel. But here's a quick rundown of what else is coming with this update. So there will be trap markers on the map. So I imagine, for example, now when you place your bug traps around the map, they will indicate on the map so you can remember where you put them. There are also going to be all new hangout locations, which I'm really curious about. Where could they be? What activities will they offer? There's going to be better heart event tracking. There's also going to be some improvements made to how auto feeders are placed. So that would be within your coops and your barns. Now, house storage will actually increase as you upgrade the house, which is awesome. All NPCs will have pajamas, so they'll probably, do their little quick change into pajamas now when they go to bed. There will be discoverable cooking recipes on land and in the sea. Love that. Speech bubbles will also be added for the merfolk. Slice of life cutscenes will also be added for the merfolk. They're going to improve the town rank A flow. Not sure what that's going to look like. We'll have to wait and see. And hangouts are now available in weather, with some locations being weather dependent. So, ton of stuff here alone that we're just getting a little preview of. And finally, we also have an FAQ, which goes over some of the most frequently asked questions. I personally see these questions all the time, so it's great that they're addressing a ton of these things. So first of all, when is the Switch release? The answer is that Stairway Games doesn't have anything to share on this just yet, but we'll let you know the moment we do. From what the team has shared in the past, I believe they're probably bound to some kind of an NDA, so they're not able to share anything about this yet. We probably have to wait on their publishers to give them some kind of a green light to share an update and some additional information with us. That is just my speculation, but I'm also basing that off of a previous official statement that Stairway Games made during the time period that they actually lost their publisher, when they were actually able to share with us. So we'll still have to just stay tuned on that. The next question asks, when is the Kids Growing Up update going to be released? The team said, we hear you. We don't have an ETA for the 1.4 update yet, but as soon as they have a date, we'll have it. They just want to be sure about it before they commit, and right now their focus is on 1.3, so they're taking it one day at a time, which is fair. I don't know how they'd be able to give us a release date for 1.4 when we're not even at 1.3 yet. The next question asks if there will be a breakup mechanic or a divorce in the game, or polyamory mode instead. Now, the team responded by saying that they did look into it, and the short version is that divorce and breakup systems get messy fast and can introduce a lot of bugs. So doing it properly would also mean a ton of extra content, NPC reactions, different outcomes, new cutscenes, etc. So for instance, divorcing Pablo would have very different consequences for Raphael, Pablo's brother, rather than divorcing Macy would. So there are just too many branches to make it feel right. That being said, the new save system ended up being their workaround, so you can now branch your saves and explore different relationships that way. They know it's not the same, but it's the closest they could get without breaking the game or piling on tons of new content. The next question asks if the game will have split screen or local co-op. The answer is no. They tried, but they just couldn't get local couch co-op to work the way they wanted it to. They do apologize to couch gamers, which is really a shame because I do feel like there's fewer and fewer couch co-op options. And a lot of games do now revolve around online multiplayer. It's always nice to, sit on a couch with someone in real life and split the screen and play the game with them, but unfortunately that's just not going to happen for Coral Island. The next question asks if we will get more decor items, like the ones from NPC houses, or more outfits, and the team is just answering no new decor or outfits in 1.3. And there's nothing in the works at the moment, but hey, never say never. The next question asks if the hair will be adjusted when using hats. And they said, in a perfect world, yes, they would love to accommodate as many hairstyles as possible, but realistically, no. With their current hat system, every hat already has 3 versions, one for no hair, one for short hair, and one for long hair, which is 3 separate meshes per hat, and adding more would slow them down significantly in other areas of the game. The next question asks, after Reina and Agung, will they get more dateables? Like Derek, like Karen? And the team said probably not. Adding Agung and Reina was a lot of fun, and the team loved it, but it's a huge amount of work, and it tends to introduce more bugs than they'd like. So for now, the lineup is set, and if no one in the cast catches your eye, well, a life of solitude isn't so bad. Buy some chickens is their advice. Honestly, I so feel them on this. Like, there are so many options already in this game. Like, we are so spoiled with dateable options. I personally have not seen another life sim, farm sim game, like this, to have this many options and this many diverse options included in the lineup. I'm so understanding if they're just like, hey, buy some chickens at this point, right? I also totally get that there's always going to be characters that in a perfect world would also be dateable, but it also adds a bit more realism to the game. I feel like in real life you can't just point at anyone and pick them and want to date them, and so in Coral Island there are going to be some attractive characters that are not going to be dateable, and that's just fine. I think, again, we're spoiled with the lineup. They did say probably not, so, there's always a small chance that they could add additional options in the future, but I would not hold my breath on it. And I would personally just enjoy the game and choose from the lovely lineup of characters we already have. Next, does manual saving work in multiplayer? So the answer to this is no, manual saving does not work in multiplayer. They did try implementing it, but they couldn't get it to work properly in multiplayer, unfortunately. Then the next question asks if there will be a Coral Island mobile version, and the answer is no plans for mobile. The game could not run on phones, and they tried. And finally, will Coral Island be available on Mac? And they said they have no plans for Mac. So this FAQ has a lot of "we tried and failed" in it, and they are sorry about that. It never feels good to miss the mark, but they are doing their best. I think it's really great that they finally just addressed a lot of these topics. Even if it's not the answer you want to hear, they're being honest. I think it's way better to hear a no if they know that's the answer than to keep people hanging or for us to keep wondering. if something's going to be implemented or not. There you have it, friends. That's the latest news from Coral Island. Be sure to share your thoughts with me down in the comments. Which new feature for 1.3 is your favorite? Which one are you most curious about? Are you going to be romancing Reina or Agung now that they are confirmed as new dateable characters? We've got so much to talk about, so anything and everything. You know I always love hearing from you. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I love you all. And until next time, take care.